So this is the one that's gonna get me in trouble. Because it's easy to tell somebody, hey, you gotta be healthy. Hey, you gotta deal with past hurts. You gotta deal with your relationship challenges and loneliness. But we've entered a space in our culture where it's not cool to say, hey, if you wanna live a non-anxious life, if you want peace, you have to choose belief. You have to choose to believe in something bigger than yourself. This idea of, I don't believe in anything, that's a modern privilege. All of human history until just a couple hundred years ago, people walked out of their tent, they walked out of their hut, they walked out of their cave, and they looked to the sky, and they said, dear God, or dear gods, please rain, or my kids will die. There was an innate submission to a higher power, something that operates the cosmos. And then we got real smart. We started solving some of these issues that have plagued humanity for all of human history. Lack of food, winter, how do we eat? Now I got a cell phone, I just push a button and food shows up at my house. Clean water, just turn that nozzle. And we started deconstructing us, the way we think about things and feel about things. And we created this idea that the goal of human existence is self-actualization. If you get safety and you get security and you get food and you get relationships, the world will then revolve around you. And here we are. You and me, we have everything and we're spinning out of control because this self was never designed to be actualized. The self was never designed to hold up the burdens of the universe. And now we worship the thing that we think will save us. We worship our political party. We worship our physical health. We worship our money. As the great David Foster Wallace says, we are beings created to worship. And Foster Wallace was an atheist. This wasn't a religious statement. This was a fact. And what we're all finding out, you and me and all of us in real time, they don't hold. They're not gonna save us. Building a non-anxious life is about surrender, about taking a knee and saying, I can't hold up the universe. There's a higher power than me in action. Choosing belief comes in two important parts: letting go and anchoring into the source. For all of human history, God's decided what you wore, what your roles were, who did what and why. Yes, there was oppression. Yes, people got squashed, but the point was there was a unifying story. And in the last few years, we've clipped all the unifying stories. We've untethered ourselves from the source. And when you let go and you're not anchored in, you become a balloon or a feather lost in the wind. On the other side, if you anchor in and you don't let go, you become a source of political division and tension, trying to die on every hill. It's a way of pretending that you're not holding up the universe, but you're still trying to hold it with all your might. So you have to anchor in. You have to believe in something bigger than yourself. And for my science friends, it's gotta be bigger than the scientific method. We've worshiped that for the last few hundred years. And for my deeply religious, passionately religious friends, it has to be deeper than your sets of rules. We're talking about the source. We're talking about God. We're talking about the love that moves through the universe and holds all things together. And as a science nerd, I don't want that to be the case. As somebody who spent my whole life trying to use my intellect to solve why I had such a gaping hole inside of me, I don't want it to be the case. I want to have all the answers and I want to have it figured out. I just know this to be true. You have to anchor in to something bigger than yourself, to a higher power, and you have to let go. So about a year ago, I got an email from my boss. My boss said, hey, I got us all tickets to go skydiving. Who's in? And quickly, the reply alls came through. I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. And as a matter of spite, I immediately responded, I'm in, send, accept. I'm so scared of heights, I don't like going up second-story staircases. When my son gets up on a chair to change a light bulb, my heart stops. I hate heights, but I said I was in. And the whole flight up in this old tankered plane with duct tape on the inside of the plane, it was duct taped together. And then came the fateful moment when they slammed the door open. I held on to the former Special Forces guy that was tethered to me. And before I could answer, he jumped. And in that moment, we were free falling. I let go. And I opened my arms up, enjoying the ride, tethered to somebody who's gonna keep me safe. That's belief. Back 10 years ago when I wasn't well, I spent a year with a man who was both a bioethics professor and a part-time monk. He said, "John, so often sarcasm and pessimism present as wisdom, and joy and optimism and peace present as foolishness, as nonsense. We have an 'oh really' culture, and it's much easier to knock their building down than it is to build our own. And so we live and breathe sarcasm, pessimism. You know it's all coming down. You know it's not true. And we pretend that joy and optimism and peace and belief are stories for children, are myths of the old age. And I'll ask us just to look around. What has our sarcasm and pessimism got us? The most anxious generation in human history. I know the idea of choosing belief is heavy. There's religious trauma that you may have gone through. There are religious systems that have burdened you and beat you down. There are scientists and mentors and thinkers who have laughed and scoffed at the idea of a higher power. It's just silly, it's for children. But one thing I know to be certain. If you make you the center of the world, you will collapse under the weight. Choose to set down sarcasm and pessimism. Choose to set down intellect, solving everything. Choose to rest in a higher power. Choose to say, I surrender. I can't hold it up any longer. It's not an excuse to stop living your life, and it's not an excuse to cash out, and it's not an excuse to not go be ambitious and try to solve some of the world's most vexing problems. We need you. I need you. But I'm asking you to do it anchored in. Anchored into a higher power. Anchored into God. And this is belief. And this is the path to a non-anxious life.